DFoshiz. Hey guys, it's me, D, and I am back with another speed build. Today I am building in Windenburg, and I am building the third out of three buildings in Old Platts. I did not record the other two buildings. This is actually the first build that I've ever recorded. I figured after those two buildings, I wanted to see if I could screen record, and I could. And so I know I've uploaded one more before, but this is the build that I've talked about, that this is my actual first speed build that I've ever made. It's just taken me a very long time to edit because it's taken me a very long time. It took me a very long time to build. It is a pretty big building. Again, it's one of three buildings. All three of these took me a very long time. But this building is the residential apartment building, and it's in the Haussmannian style that you will see in Paris, like the very classic Parisian style. And I had a really good time building in this world. I mentioned in my last video, but I saw these windows that we got from the Royalty and Legacy pack, and they were the absolute perfect windows. And I've been waiting forever for windows like these. And so it's nice to have them in game. And I do love building with CC as well. And it's so nice to have some DLC that is, I guess, a vision of what I would like to see. I love how decadent the windows are. I love the details on them. So I just love how they're not just flat and square. It's really exciting to have and to use and to build. And I was inspired to come into this world and build in this style. I have actually built these kind of before, but not really. This is actually the best I've ever built them. I had the idea for these three buildings during the pandemic, and I've built a version of them before, but my game got destroyed and I lost everything. And so I swore I would never build in this town again. But then I saw these windows and I was like, you know what, D, it is time to come back and build in this area. And I'm so glad I did. It's the best I've ever built it. I'm such a better builder now than I was during the pandemic, and it's exciting to see the work that I guess I've been putting into the game and into my builds, and I'm excited that I get to start sharing it with you guys. But as you can see, the front of the building has started to come together. For this building, since it is residential, I wanted the front of it to be very welcoming and decadent, and so you knew that, like, oh, like, people with money live here. Like, this is a nice building. Because it's not, there are some stores on the bottom, as you would see in Paris, but I wanted, the front of this building to be the prettiest facade in this part of town. I just wanted to reflect that in the game, and so that you knew, like, oh yeah, cool people live here. But I will tell you about these buildings. On the left side, I have it as a cafe in my game, but there is a cafe, there is a store. I have it as a Coach store, actually, because we got all that Coach stuff from that random update, I guess. And so I have a Coach store over there. I also have a library, bookstore, and also the place for, oh my gosh, what are they? The avant-gardists, the avant-gardes, the whatever that group's name is. I have their secret hideaway apartment up there, which, was nice to make. They've got the top floor of the library, and there is also there was an ice cream. I made an ice cream store, but then I turned it into it was actually during this build, when I was building this, I totally forgot about the juice stand that we got with the the high school pack. The high school pack, there's that little juice stand, and so I found that, and then I went back and turned the ice cream store into something maybe that looks a little bit more functional. And you'll see that I actually go back after I find the stand here, and then later I actually go through some of the other builds as I'm touching them up to kind of match this building. This was the third of the three, as I mentioned before. And so by this time, I kind of knew how I wanted to lay things out, the building, and how I wanted to do the roofing and things. So it went a lot quicker. The other ones took a while. But again, like every time I built, I would find something new that I want to do, and I would go back and I would apply it to all the buildings. In this build, I discovered the. Did I discover the columns in this one? I feel like I did. I feel like I discovered the columns or something, and so I went back and I just added. I think I added columns on all the buildings, and I added this trim to all the buildings. I just thought it just uplifted the style that I was going for. But yeah, there is in the building on the left, there is also a restaurant. So it could be a restaurant. Oh, and there's also a rooftop bar. So you'll see as I, turn the camera around and stuff, there's also a rooftop bar. And so you can use that as a, again, I have it as a cafe in my game. I like it as a cafe, but it could also be a restaurant. It could also be a library. Oh, there's also a vet place over there. It's my duty. I am doing my best that in every town there is a place that you can at least turn into a vet, so your Sims don't have to always go to Brindleton Bay to go to the vet. I'm doing my best, but the vet is also in the building on the left. And I think that's all that's over there. Yeah, the rooftop bar. It can also be it can be a bar. It can also be a lounge. I gave you lots of options for that build. And then on the right side, that building is there is in the new royalty and legacy pack. There is the new lot type, the new lot type that is. I think like during the daytime, it could be the place can be a library or a gym or a museum, and then at nighttime it turns into like a nightclub. And I thought it was so perfect because again, in the past, I built this. I basically built all of these, but I made. I don't know if you know what the Crazy Horse is in Paris, but it's this. It's kind of like the Moulin Rouge. But if you've ever seen Beyonce's Partition music video, it's basically that. Like she recreates the show from the Crazy Horse in that music video. And I did go to Crazy Horse, and I did see the show, and I wanted to make that in the game. And so if as you'll see, like right there, there's the entrance to my version of the Crazy Horse. And so but the building is, you'll see there is, well, in Paris, there's a cinema called the Rex Theater, and I made the Rex Theater, as again you'll see, but I've turned it into I've gone in and taken out the theater and made it a gym. So it's been converted to a gym, the theater. I just like the way it looks in the shell. And then on the other side of it is a museum. And in the museum, there's lots of statues, lots of paintings. And there's also a place where you can take painting class. And there's also a place where you can learn how to do some pottery. So if you want to go over there and teach, you can. And then there's also a hair salon over there, and there is also a bar that is not functional because, well, in the basement where in Crazy Horse, I made it. It looks like a cabaret space, but there's a dance floor. There is also a place where there is a DJ booth that it's kind of like a tech table. I don't know if you know theater, but you have people at a soundboard. I've made the soundboard, but the soundboard is a DJ's booth, and so they play music. And I'm assuming, like, say it's like after the cabaret is ended, and it's after the cabaret has ended, and and then they just start playing music and people start, dancing, enjoying the rest of the evening. There's a bar downstairs. So, and it's so fun. Like, it's such a, I think they did a great job with the lot type. Like, for me, well, actually, it was working before the recent patch, and then we got the recent patch, and then there just aren't as many people down there as there was before. And so, I just need them to bring that back, but because before the patch, the people were at the club, but then after the patch, there were like two people down there, and so it wasn't exciting. But again, I'm very happy that we do have the lot type. It's exciting that they're expanding lot type so we can have multifunctional buildings, and so we don't have to go change them every time we have to go into build mode and have to change the lot type. But as you see in this build, I made a rooftop, like I guess a patio. What do you call those things? A rooftop, like an outdoor space for one of the apartments in this building as well. And this building is actually two apartments. I made it two apartments. There's the bigger one, which is two floors, and so that roof. Oh, what is it called? Like a balcony. Oh my gosh, it's called a balcony. The balcony belongs to the apartment on the upper floor, which I have made for the. I'm going to mispronounce this, but the Jurgen family, that we got with the Get Together expansion pack. I figured they seemed like the family that I wanted to live in this part of town, and there's so many people who live in this town, and so I'm trying to find places to give them all houses. I've got a lot of work to do, but I've been building a lot in this part of town. I have one more lot that I need to finish. I actually just finished building a lot that I didn't record. I started building and I thought I started recording, and I got so far and I looked when I was done for the day. I was like, oh no, I didn't press record. And now I decided, I was like, I'm not going to re-record it. I'm just going to keep building. And so I made a house on the Havisham house lot. It's basically, I imagine that the mayor of Windenburg lives there, and so I have that over there. I've also made a house for another townhouse or maison de ville for, well, I'm going to call it maison de ville for somebody who's kind of like Cruella de Vil, a fashion designer, kind of like Cruella de Vil meets Miranda from Devil Wears Prada. So I've made it for that apartment for her. It's there's a building I saw when I was walking around in Paris, and it was like this like apartment building, but you could walk through under it, and so I've kind of recreated my version of that. But yes, in this building, I made the big apartment is for the Bjergen family, and I've made that in a separate video. Otherwise, this is going to be too long. And then I've left the apartment on the lower floor, the one that's just one level, I've left that empty so that you can move your own sim in. I might go in and furnish it myself, but I definitely will upload it as an empty apartment. I like having an empty apartment in each of the apartments I do build, at least just so that you can move in and do what you want with it. Yeah, that's just what I decide to do in my game. But I probably will at some point go in and decorate it. And one thing that was so frustrating about building and also just building in The Sims is these, I guess, are the one thing. English? The one thing, I guess, since it's one, it's singular. The one thing that's so frustrating about, well, I guess there are a lot of things frustrating about playing The Sims and building in The Sims, but one that I'm going to focus on right now is the freezes, like how they just disappear whenever they want to. I can't figure out why they're disappearing or what makes them disappear, but I put them on and then I'll do stuff and then they disappear. Like they just, they're very finicky, but eventually I do get all the freezes in the game to just be what I want them to be, and it turns out fine in the very end. Here in the front, you can see originally I wanted a garden store to be here, but then I decided to make a boulangerie. I Yeah, I figured a boulangerie was more important than a garden store. I guess technically, like in Paris, I figured it'd be better to have in this front part than a garden store. And then here in the back is where I move the the garden store. I think I definitely changed the swatches later to more of a dark brown. But yeah, I moved it around. But yeah, I definitely had a great time building this. And back here, this is going to be a yoga studio in the gym that I built. In the gym that I built, there is only there's a top floor that has like treadmills and weightlifting machines and those dumbbells that we got from, well, oh my gosh, the Adventure Awaits pack. And then on the second floor, it has a spinning studio, and then on the bottom floor it has the locker rooms, etc. But there's no room for like yoga or anything, so I figured they also own the space over here. That place is the gym that I built is pretty loud, and because people are working out to the music and the spin store. But if you want to go take yoga, in my head, you come over here and you go to the yoga place that's separate, so it's a bit calmer. And you see here, I put another storefront. I was gonna have to be like a food place, but I end up actually putting the stairwell where that third storefront is, right there. With that, I've used the what is that, the bistro kit. I end up putting one of those garages that you can paint over there, and putting the stairwell. That's where the stairwell for the building to get into the apartments ends up being ultimately. But here I am in the garden store. As I told you before, I changed the swatches, and now I'm going through debug and pulling out as many items as possible to bring to kind of decorate the outside of it. And yeah, the I guess I go in the boulangerie later, but I definitely had such a great time building all three of these. I keep going through just to make sure everything's perfect. I want to upload all three of them at the exact same time, and yeah, I just wanted to make sure they work. I've been play testing them thoroughly. In this one, I'm gotta go back and replay one more time again. But I have really been enjoying coming back and building in Wittenberg. I haven't built so much, but now I'm like, I again, a long time ago, I built Notre Dame, or like I call it the Windenburg Cathedral, but it's basically a spinoff of Notre Dame using the Castle Estate kit. And I had a great time building that, and that's the one build I was like, the Castle Estate kit is why I started building in Windenburg again. And I recently rebuilt, well, I recently built for the first time, but I built Sacré-Cœur, which I uploaded, and that build is on the channel. It's the first one I've actually uploaded, and my first time trying to do a voiceover and everything, and just trying to see, what can happen with this channel and my builds, and also just wanting to share them with the world. Finally, again, I've been wanting to do this since the pandemic, and my computer wouldn't let me do it. So I'm happy to have a new computer now. I was actually playing The Sims, and I spilled coffee on my computer. I spilled coffee on it, and it stopped working. And so I got a new computer, and it costs the same amount, but this is not an ad. This is not an ad, But this new MacBook Pro, I plan on a MacBook Pro, like laptop, just like it cost about the same as my other computer, but that computer was so slow and it wouldn't let me screen record. And this one, the game looks so beautiful. Like I installed it and the game looks so good and it moves quickly and I can screen record on this one. And I was so surprised. Again, this is the first I'd been building. I'd built the other ones, but I hadn't even considered screen recording because my last computer couldn't do it. And then I was like, I wonder if I should start screen recording. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I'm able to. I'm so glad that I'm able to start sharing with you guys and to start doing the voiceovers. And I've always had a microphone because I'm an actor and I also write music and I like to use GarageBand. So I've had a microphone, but I just didn't have a computer that would let me screen record while I played The Sims. And I'm very happy to contribute to the community. I really love the Sims community. I love the things that people create. I love watching different creators. In another video, I mentioned I watch a lot of Simlissy. I watch Jessica Pie and Freezer Bunny. And of course, I watch videos by Lil Simsy and D Sims. So yeah, I'm just happy to be a part of the community. And as you can see, I've started to put some decorations on the outside. Again, it went kind of quickly. I was able to do it fairly quickly because I kind of knew what I was doing by this point, 3 builds in. And again, still discovering things that how I wanted to enhance the builds to make them more Parisians, or just finding things. And speaking of finding things, right now I skip forward because you don't want to see me putting all these little pieces on the entire roof. It took a little while, so I skip forward. There you go. But oh my God, I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? I was saying something about each building and how finding things. So you see right now the balconies that I've used. These balconies I think are currently from the My Wedding Stories game pack or stuff pack, whatever it is, something pack. And which those weddings I just don't do them. I don't do the weddings. I tried it once and nothing was working, so maybe I should try it again to see if things work. Anyways, I forgot I was telling y'all about Sacré-Cœur. I'll get back to Sacré-Cœur in a second. But I was looking for these. I swore I was watching. What's their name? I can't think of this builder's name right now, but I believe he is Portuguese. And I remember watching one of his builds and I saw these balconies and I was like, "Oh, where are those balconies from? Like what's that you're putting on the windows?" And then I had to pause the YouTube video and I looked really close to see what pack it was, and it was a Love Struck pack. And I was like, "Okay, so Love Struck." And I was going through my game and I just could not find the balcony. It wasn't in the exterior wall. I don't know what the category is, but the exterior wall decoration piece, it wasn't there. And so I was using these balconies for my wedding stories. And then while I was decorating the Jurgen family apartment, I found the balcony. And it's in shelves. It's in the indoor shelves. The outdoor balcony is categorized in the indoor shelves. So I went back and later, and maybe you'll see it later, I go back and I change out all of the balconies to the ones I wanted to use originally. And it looks so much better. But here I am in the yoga studio, as I was talking about the balconies. Here I am in the yoga studio and kind of matching it to what I had going on in the gym that's in the building on the right if you're looking at the front part of this build. And so, yeah, so you can get a glimpse of, or you can assume kind of the color scheme of the gym, using lots of stuff from Spa Day. And yeah, it came out quite nice. Like I like what I came up with in this little space. Just a little yoga studio. You come in, you just tap on the little board, you come in. Also, who knows, maybe the person in the apartment above, maybe they are a yoga teacher. Maybe that's what, and then I mean, you can't really, I don't think you'll be able to have a business in this lot. You can, I guess. I think it'll be, I don't know if you can have a business part in a apartment building. But say you live in the apartment and you do want to teach yoga, you can just make a group. Make a little group on using the group system from what is this pack again? Windenburg? No, Get Together. Use the group system, and then invite them over, and then you teach your class, you make them pay, and then you kick them out. Maybe that's what you do. But yeah, there's this little yoga studio down here. But yeah, I was saying before, I I was building Sacré-Cœur and I turned it into a nightclub because the exterior of the nightclub just looks janky. I don't like how modern it was, so I just made a pretty building that I really like looking at, and I turned it into a nightclub, and it's really fun to play in. Also, it's just a beautiful building. That one is already on my gallery. And then I have another build that I did for basically, again, I said I made a new house for the mayor, which is, again, already on my gallery. I call it Maison Havisham, and like Havisham House, but in French. And then but I made that for, yeah, the mayor of Windenburg, and it's a guy in my game, but for their family. And I made a place called a mairie, which is like every if you've ever been to Paris, each arrondissement has basically a town hall that they call a mairie, and so I made the mairie for the new part of town, the more modern part of town. And in there's another gym, and there is a pool and one of those spa thingies from Snowy Escape, and yeah, those little warm bath thingies, and a steam room. And there is also, yeah, I said the gym. And then there are and then there's like a kids playroom for like your toddlers and children. And then there are also these spaces for children to learn how to do crafts. And there's a science room. Like it's for the children to all come and, yeah, do their little crafts and do their little learning. It's just like a big, instead of an actual like town hall. It's a community. I think it's a community center. I think that's what it's called, the lot type. It's a community center. There's like a place for, on the first floor, you have like the little kids play area, and then you have the like a little room where you can, if you know how to play the guitar, you can go and play guitar. You can play piano. People give you tips. It's like a little place for like culture. I just imagine like they bring artists in and they play for the people in the town, and people go there. There's also a library upstairs, and like an actual town hall room where I imagine people have actual discussions on the town and what's going on, etc. But now, as you can see, we are in this store that I'm trying to build. And see, this is where I find the juice thing, but I didn't necessarily want this place to be a juice space. I originally wanted it to be like an Apple store, things like that. That's why you saw all those white counters. But it just was too white, and like it just looked bland and nothing was happening. But then I found this juice store, and I was like, all right, maybe I'll make a juice thing. But then I was like, you know what, maybe not the juice stand. I was like, what would be better? That's when I had the deal. It would be better if I moved the juice stand over to the other building, which you'll see me do later, and have that be like a juice place that's actually more functional than the ice cream store, because you can't really do any. It looked like ice cream, but you can't really do anything in there. And so you see me here, I'm trying to work with it, but then and here I am going back to the Apple store, because I was just thinking of, all right, like I'll move that stuff to the other building to make it more functional, because this is supposed to be mostly for decoration anyways. But then, as you can see, like this just like Apple stores look so like fine in person, but when you think about it, like they're just like these big white rooms. And in The Sims, it just doesn't look good. Like look, it looks like a prison. Like it makes me like if people like have a straight jacket, and like that's what it looks like. So anyways, I ended up going and pulling these little stands from the high school years expansion pack back out, and then making like um, a thrift store, which they call it's un friperie in French, and I'm so glad I decided to do this, because it reminds me of, again, I spent actually a lot of time in France. I was there during the pandemic. I have lots of friends in France, and I love the town. I love the language. I'm pretty bilingual. I know I'm like stuttering over my French right now, because it's hard to go switch between English and French for me. But I yeah, I loved my time over there, and much of what I built is an homage to what I saw during my time that I spent there, and just rebuilding things that I saw, or places that I've visited, and friends' apartments. But this is kind of is an ode to the more, I guess, bougie thrift stores that are over there. You have the ones that are really cheap. Like I'm so mad. I had this pair of jeans that I got for like €5, and they were so nice. But my thigh, like when I walk, my thighs rub together, and I get maybe like 6 months to a year with a pair of jeans before my thighs have rubbed, before my thighs have rubbed a hole in the crotch, basically. And so those I've had to get rid of. I patched them up. They were such a great brand of pant, and they were only €5. They were my favorite. But we live, we move on. Your thighs get bigger because you work out, and you keep it moving. But here it is coming together. The thrift store. I need to make. I don't know if I'm gonna make more of a rundown one. I kind of want to for the new part of town. I want to make one that's more grungy, but I don't know if I have space for it anymore, because I do want to make one more apartment building. I want to make a restaurant, because it's like an actual restaurant, a standalone restaurant. I know there's a restaurant in the building, on the left of this series of buildings, but I want to do a standalone restaurant, because it's France. Like I feel like you have to have a restaurant in France, and I want to do it in the old part of town. And in the new part of town, I want to make an apartment building, so I can stuff everyone else that I haven't made space for in into that building. There's so many people in Windenburg, and so I'm trying to again house them as much as I can. We'll see if everybody makes it. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what that building. I'm going to put that on the dock area where the nightclub used to be. Originally, I built a park over there, but then I started thinking about it. That's actually up on the gallery too. But I started looking, and I did not record that one as well. I forgot to press record. Or I started building it, and then I just kept building, and I didn't stop. And I was like, I should have recorded that. But I'm going to move the park to a different place in that area. But and so that's going to take me a second to figure out how I want to remodel it. I want to go for the same idea with that park, but it's just a bigger lot, so I just have to spread it out and see what I want to do with it. But on the dock area where in Windenburg, like the part that, yeah, where the nightclub used to be, I want to build an apartment building there. That's probably more modern, probably the only modern building that I plan on building in this like section of the world in the new part of town actually. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that. And I just gotta, yeah, figure out what kind of apartment, modern apartment that is still kind of European. Yeah, I just gotta figure that out. I also want to make on the actual dock area. I know, like the one that's the wooden dock area. I want to make a. I want to do like a boardwalk, because in France they have all these like uh, these like they have a big Ferris wheel and you can go in the winter you can ride some rides and they have like drinks and yeah in the winter they have like like warm wine that you can drink. I want to make an ode to that over there, so it'll be a fun place probably for like teenagers to hang out, etc. But yeah, here is the thrift store coming together, and I'm really happy with ultimately how it turned out. It definitely took me a while to get there, and the decorations. I come back and add uh, like the wheel, the bikes and the wheels that we got from business and hobbies. And yeah, I forgot about those posters that we. In there's a band in that that comes in the pictures of when of Get Together that we got with Get Together. Oh my gosh, English is so hard sometimes. There is a band that we got that is shown through the pictures that we got with business no with Get Together, and I'm going to try to, and there are actually people who were, I don't know if you guys remember the original oh my gosh, what the original trailer for The Sims. You had some, but they put those people, the original people, in The Sims. And so whenever, like, in my game, I have, my goal is to have every single sim that was on a trailer to be in the game. I don't know if I'm gonna do like a save file. Like I really enjoy it, but and maybe I will. This is gonna take me a long time to catch up. I feel like I'm so behind all these other builders who are making save files. But I do, and like I have lots of builds that I've done. I've done a lot in Willow Creek. I've done a lot in the one that the desert one. I can't think of what it's called. Oasis Springs. I've I've done a lot, but I haven't uploaded much of them. But they are there. I'm having a really great time building in Windenburg. But my if I did if I do oh gosh, I'm about to say doo doo. If I do make a save file, well, at least for my game, I like having all the Sims from the trailers just walking around, and then ultimately I want to like make them over and with all the new packs, etc. that I have in my game, just so that yeah, that's just how I want to play it. But I just like having the people from the trailers because I just think it's fun. And uh, but anyways, yeah, here I am in the boulangerie. I You'll see me playing around with how I wanted it to be set up. At first, like I just had the counter over here, and I ultimately it 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 wasn't working for me. I didn't want people to sit in here. I just wanted them to come in, get their bread, and leave. And so you'll see me here turning it into this little L shape, the counter, which actually reminds me of there is around. Well, I was dating somebody in France, and there is this boulangerie around the corner from their apartment, and this is also, never mind, I'm not even gonna say that. But I was dating somebody in France, which is another reason why I was flying back and forth so much to France. But there was this boulangerie near their apartment, and the counter in there was pretty much this shape. And so there was you would come in, the line would go around, and then you would go out I don't remember if there were two doors or one, but I just remember the counter, the shape. So this was kind of an ode to that. one thing that I did in here was, you see, I it was just an awkward amount of space, and so I figured, why not do this? Like, you see, I built like a little glass, as if there used to be a wall there where the bread was made, but they turned it into glass so that the customers can see the people making the bread, etc. I don't know. I needed to save the space, and I was like, I don't know, maybe it's like a tourist trap, and people come over here and spend money on maybe bread that is, I don't know, maybe it's mediocre, but they get to come in here because it's one of the places to come and see people make the bread, because Instagram or Simstagram, yada, yada, yada. But that's what I just decided to do in here for creative purposes. But yeah, this is the boulangerie. I think I end up changing the wallpaper. This original wallpaper came with the bistro pack, as in the floor came with the oh my gosh, the royalty and legacy pack as of right now. But I changed them. I don't remember currently what I changed them to, because like I've said, I've been building other things since this. I'm just finally coming back and doing a voiceover, and after editing all the footage, and I have this tick where I move the camera around. Like, I make a decision and then I move the camera around a lot to see if I like it, and cutting all of that out so it's not discombobulating to you guys. That's why you'll see things cut so quickly. I will work on it. And I am, again, very new to screen recording, and I have a lot to learn about moving the camera while screen recording so that it is good for the eyes. But yeah, I've also made a corner Parisian apartment building, and that's where I got the idea for, not the idea for the boulangerie, but where I found these pieces of bread that are just hanging out in debug live edit. I don't know where they are, but these pieces of bread were just lying around, and I was like, this is perfect for a boulangerie. So I just like plopped them in these little things that we got. I think you had to get the business and hobbies pack early to get them, but I like them, so I put them in here because they were just perfect for what I was going for. And here is the official quote unquote entrance for the apartment building. In here, there is nothing much. This is where I don't remember. No, the mail is not in here. But yeah, I tried to put the stairs in here, but it just wasn't working. It wasn't working like with the layouts for the apartment. I believe I did the layouts of everything. I did it all off camera. But yeah, the stairs would not fit. Like, I tried to put them in the very front, but it just wasn't working. So I said, okay, D, just find somewhere else for the stairs. We're gonna figure it out, because we're not changing anything. We're not changing the building. We're gonna figure out these stairs. And here I am messing with the freezes again. It's like I try to I like my oh my god, I like my fireplaces to be up a little bit, but it was so hard with the freezes. So I said, okay, we can put the fireplace on just like flat on the ground. And you'll see me mess with the flooring a lot in here. It took me a while to find something that I liked. But yeah, here we are. So this is the official front. There is what I imagine a doorman or a door person. So let's stop saying doorman. It could be any kind of person. A door person here. And so I had this little old phone. I imagine there's like a old phone system in this building, because it's this glamorous and old school. I'm also a real estate agent. I love like going in apartments, and so just seeing like this is just and seeing old apartments in New York and how they have the telephone system. There's some really cool ones, like some that are just like in the walls of these old buildings that were built like early 1900s, like 1920s, and just the phone systems that they still have to use in the building. It's just so cool to just see that. But sometimes they have these little telephones, and again, sometimes in the wall. But here I am messing around on the floor again. I end up going with like a white floor, and then yep, here I go. Well, this is the first way I tried it, but it looked too checkerboardy, so I see why we do the diagonal, and I went and I start going through and putting the floor, and I believe I ultimately end up going with this style, if I remember correctly. I think, yeah, yes, I'm gonna say final answer. Yes, it was this style that I ended up doing, and yeah, is there anything else that's in this build? You'll see me in a bit, but there's like a little courtyard back here. I really tried to make it into like a little back garden, and then I cut out all of it. I cut out all of it because it was just so long. Because it was also redundant. Like I ended up deleting all of it. Like, but I tried to make it into like a little garden courtyard, but it was not working. And then ultimately, I was like, this courtyard gets no sunlight, so plants can't even grow here. So yeah, here I am. There I am changing the flooring. Is this what I did? What did I do in this room? Did I? Is that what I did? Okay, I changed the floor. But yeah, what is this? What room is this? I don't even know what room I'm showing you. Oh, wait, is this the garden? Oh, okay, great. It just looks so weird from this angle. I was like, what is this? Why is it like that? Anyways, this is the garden store. This is the garden store, and I think this is the last one that I end up doing. Here I am changing things in the boulangerie to kind of match what I was going for. Just like I wanted it this most of the side to be kind of older and um, yeah, just like old Paris, just like yeah, these like dark woods and yeah, I just wanted to be kind of like old Paris, like the Haussmannian. Like I wanted, you have from like the old part of town to the new part of town. There are new parts on this building, but those have been made more recently. But I just imagine like this garden shop has been here for ages. The library next door has been here for ages, and the library next door in the other building, I think it's like Gibert. I think, is that what it's called? There's basically the Barnes and Nobles of Paris, and me and my friend went there, and it takes up the entire building, and it has all these like awnings outside. It's just like I think it's yellow and blue, like these yellow and blue awnings, and yeah, I walked in. I was like, it's like a bookstore that takes up the entire building. So I wanted to do an homage to that with the the bookstore library that I made in that building. It's not yellow and blue. I think I tried to make it like that, but I think the red looks so much better. And I feel like red in The Sims is just like library. I don't know why. But that's what I did. That was my inspiration for the library. And in the library, it has like these little study rooms. It has a place where you can teach people in there as well. Again, there is a place for the avant-gardist group at the very, very top. And yeah, lots of places, computers, of course. But yeah, here I am in the garden store and just pulling out lots of plants and just trying to do my best to make it look like you're gonna buy things here. I I definitely had a great time building in this world. I'm having a great time building in this world. I am almost done. I'm almost done. Well, not almost done. I'm almost done with this part of town. I built like a huge Scottish estate in, I don't know what neighborhood it is, but not on the island of Windenburg, but the like country part. I built a huge, yeah, and that took forever. I wish I would have screen recorded that, but it's up on the gallery. I think it's up on the gallery as Scottish Estate, but I think it's one of the biggest builds I've ever built. That one took me months. When I say like months, and I mean months, like it took me so long, but I do love it. That build is for the Fires family, And yeah, so I think that part of town's going to be more Scottish. I think it has to be at this point. But like Scottish, maybe I made a CC build that is more of like it's like a Tudor cottage building. And then I did another CC build that I haven't uploaded that on the CC build onto the channel yet. I also think there's a version I can do of that cottage that is CC free. I'm going to attempt to. And so I probably won't screen record that. Yeah, I won't screen record that. Oh, here I am, and see, I end up putting the stairwell in this last part, and then on the other side of it, the garage is I don't think I show the rest of this the stairwell, or I might, I don't remember, but yeah, I wanted to show this stairwell that I end up building, um and just going through and just putting the touches on the stairwell. I'm very happy that this is the best place for the stairwell, and this entryway, and I made a little elevator that goes all the way up.